Hey, welcome to bonus radio episode number 2 of the Luke and Lewis Show. We've got 4 of these, so 2 left, including the one you're about to listen to. That's 3.
Yes, this one, I was up in Gold Coast in a different studio to Lewis.
These ones are always weird to do because we're not in the same room. It's literally a Skype call.
Yeah.
But it's still a good episode.
Yeah, it's a great episode.
And it's always great to start these off with just, this one, not as good.
So, like, if your expectations were here, and if you're an audio listener, go like this. So put your hand up high, right?
Yeah.
And if you're watching, and then just start
Bring it down a
dropping
little bit and a little bit more.
Hang on.
Yep.
Should I start digging?
Just touch the floor. Can you get a shovel?
It's gonna start mining.
No, it's not bad.
It's not bad. It's funny.
That was just a good bit.
Yes.
Yeah, so I hope you guys enjoy this one. It was a lot of fun. We got to do a bunch of callers, it's just funny doing them from a different room. The only thing that makes it hard is Luke and I don't know when the other person is done, and we're supposed to throw to a song. There's lots of body language in radio.
When you're in the same room, you kind of know like when
you can vibe.
When you're up, when the thing you're talking about is finished, and when I'm thousands of kilometers away, and I'm watching the rest of the team have fun in a studio, and I'm watching you guys on a webcam. I'm like, are we done?
Yeah, so it was good. One thing I will talk about that's quite funny, after the episode, when we finished the radio, Luke, you went home, and to get into your radio station, someone has to let you in. Like a team member who works there has to let Luke into the Gold Coast
The company literally
radio station.
paid someone just to sit there for 4 hours just to let me into the building because it was on a Sunday.
And it would have been Sunday rates too. So that's already quite amusing. That's a lot of money to pay for someone to unlock a door.
For some reason, it always amuses us highly whenever we give the radio station what seems like a pretty unnecessary expense.
Yeah, it's always good.
It's always good fun.
Always
when
a bit of
it's
fun.
not your expense.
But after you left, Radio Mike, he was actually working the same day. He finished up work and he came up to the studio and he pressed the intercom button from outside the studio to talk to me. And he started talking as his assistant. Was it Maria?
Well, was his assistant there, Maria?
His assistant Maria was there. She started talking to me.
Right.
And then Margaret Summersby came out of nowhere.
Oh,
and they
really?
started going back and forth, got into a big argument. Because
Margaret and Maria...
Margaret came in and she started talking like this. And,
that's a really good impression of Margaret.
I know her pretty well. I do know her well. So Margaret and Maria got into a huge argument. I was just kind of standing there awkwardly. Happens all the time. I'm used to it. This went on for about 10 minutes. Ebony, the producer's laughing. James has his arms crossed, waiting us to be finished.
I mean, I've seen Margaret and Maria go at it once. Remember, they were on the phone line together, I believe.
Yes.
Or maybe in the same studio, I forget, on our last ever show when we finished, I wrapped up radio.
Yes.
I think they had it out on there as well.
It was an argument. They don't get on.
They don't
very
get
well.
along.
And and both of them have very high pitched voices and are very loud.
Yeah.
So it gets quite heated. And this was going on for about 7 to 10 minutes, and then I glanced at the screen that shows your studio,
and I'd left, by the way.
You had left, you've gone home, and the woman who let you in was standing in the studio listening to the whole thing with her arms crossed. She'd been trying to get our attention for 10 minutes, but because we were so loud, she couldn't get a word in, so she just sat there listening to Margaret and Maria scream at each other about when the wedding anniversary with Jeff was coming up. I think it was about the next week or
something. There 20 years.
Yeah, 20 years next week or something. And she was not amused at all.
I would have been.
Which was very embarrassing for
great.
Margaret and Maria. Not me. I had nothing to do with it.
Thank God you had nothing to do with that. That would be incredibly embarrassing.
Yes.
Mike needs to sometimes rein in his assistant. She gets a bit chatty.
She does get a bit chatty. But anyway,
she
guys,
means well. She's lovely, Maria.
Hope you guys enjoyed this episode of the Luke and Lewis radio show. Goodbye.
I've discovered something amazing.
What happens when you combine one studio, 2 new hosts, and the ability to broadcast to the entire nation?
Nothing can possibly go wrong.
Well, let's find out. This is the Sunday Experiment.
That's right. It's a Sunday Experiment with Luke and Lewis across the nation. How you going, Luke?
I'm very well. Technically, that intro is wrong because today we're combining 2 studios because I'm on the Gold Coast and you're in Melbourne. which is where we usually do the show from. And so, yeah, maybe we could have done a custom one for today's show, and maybe that's a bit of a poor judgment on our producers' behalf. So
I do agree with blaming errors on producers. I completely agree with that. No matter what goes wrong, it was James's fault. So can you fix that up, mate?
So not even a minute into the show and there's already faults with it.
And they're your fault.
Okay, cool. Cheers.
But we've got a banger of a show coming up for you guys. We're going to be playing the name game after this, which is everyone's favourite game and also the easiest one for everyone to participate in because all you need is a name.
It's such a low level of entry to participate in, but I feel like there is one person out there that perhaps wasn't gifted with one as a child, and
they
maybe
just got a
they
number
feel
or
left
something.
out. like a barcode or something at birth.
Yeah, true, because
But we
still
will
a
be
name.
playing that game up next, and this is how it works. Hit the intro, James.
He sounds like Jim.
She sounds like Stacy.
He might be Dave.
She might be Jane.
We'll guess your name. We'll guess your name.
13 10 60. The name game.
That's right. So give us a call. If you have a name, we are going to guess your name by asking you 3 different questions, and then we're going to guess your name about your personality because every name has a personality attached to that. Everybody knows that, and we're going to guess yours. So give us a call, and we'll talk to you after this. Luke and Lewis across the nation, and we're doing one of these.
It'd be nice if you...
So
okay,
sloppy.
all right, okay,
Sloppy,
no, sorry, all right, okay.
James.
No,
Sloppy. Do you want me to do it again for you?
Do it again, do it again,
Would you
do
like
it
me to
again.
give you okay, what I'm
Okay.
about to do, James,
Yep.
is I'm about to throw to the intro of the game that we're about to play, which you
Okay.
knew we were about to play.
Yeah, all right.
And I'm going to do that
Okay.
right now.
All right.
Hey, we're doing one of these. He sounds like Jim.
She sounds like Stacy.
He might be Dave.
She might be Jane.
We'll guess your name. We'll guess your name.
13 10 60. The name game.
That's right. We're playing the name game. Well done, James. You kept up there.
There's a lot of buttons.
Not
Well,
that
some
anyone's-
would say there's only one button, which is that one that you got to press.
That's one
when
of
we
many.
play that game. Okay, well, we'll see.
Not that anyone's counting, but
Yeah.
James, you've made 2 mistakes already in today's show. But not that anyone's counting. It's not like we're keeping a tally. But if we were, you'd be on 2 already.
That's
which
2
is pretty-
strikes. You don't want to see
Yeah.
what happens when you get to 3. Which
Rightio.
will probably be in 2 minutes, won't it?
Oh,
With
are
your
we
track
counting?
record? Yeah.
All right,
Yes.
I'll start counting as well.
We're playing the name game, guys. So, how the name game works is we have a caller lined up for us. We do not know their name. Our producers do. We don't know their name. We don't even know what gender. We're going to get them on the line, and we're going to ask them 3 questions just to vibe out their personality, and then we're going to guess their name and hopefully get it.
Yep. So caller number 1. Firstly, don't say your name.
Yep.
Okay.
Welcome to the show.
Good.
Great. So
Good.
good.
Hi.
So Lewis will go first. All right.
Yep.
He's going to ask you 1 question, answer it honestly, and we'll probably smash this out. We probably only need 2 questions to be honest, but we
Yeah.
will ask you 3 just to
All right.
in case.
So, this one, this is going to tell us exactly the type of person that our mystery caller is. Okay, so, mystery caller, what is the fastest you've ever driven your car?
Probably about 115.
Oh.
Not that fast for like the
Legal
fastest
in
ever.
the Northern Territory,
Yeah.
some areas, so that's
Yeah.
fine.
Only
And
a
we
little
won't
bit
ask you
illegal
where
in
you did
others.
Yeah.
Okay, that's
just-
pretty good.
We
Still
don't need
illegal?
you to no, not everywhere.
Yeah, but-
it is 130 in some places
Okay.
in
Alright.
Australia.
Sweet.
So we just won't ask you to specify where, so you don't incriminate yourself.
There we
on
go.
The radio.
But I immediately, I know the type of person this is, so this is
Okay.
good.
Coles or Woolies or IGA.
Woolies.
Oh.
Okay, interesting.
Okay.
I'm also a Woolies person, by the way.
I'm vibing a very safe person.
Yep.
This is what I'm getting.
Someone who likes
IGA,
fresh
bit of
food.
a risk.
Someone who enjoys fresh, low-price food. Not that they're a sponsor, but just
You know.
saying. Also, question number 3, final question: do you fold or scrunch?
Fold.
Okay.
See,
This
told
is
you.
a-
Safe,
yeah.
structured, orderly person.
Yeah.
Only breaks the law a little bit, probably by accident, right?
Yep.
This is,
Yep.
okay. Do you have a name in mind, Luke?
Yeah, I have a name that I'm vibing, but it's
Okay, turn the caller's mic off,
Yeah,
and we'll
can we
talk.
just
and we'll
discuss?
work out.
Caller 1 is off.
Okay.
I just think it's so obviously a Samantha at this point that
Oh,
it's kind of
that's a
ridiculous
good one.
that
I
we're
was-
having this discussion.
I was going to go with a Claire, right?
Oh, Claire.
Claire.
Okay.
But I think that Samantha.
I felt like a Claire would scrunch.
Yeah, Claire's a bit of a loose one.
Yeah.
Every now and then. So I
Claire's would
reckon
probably go 120k, man. They would.
True. Samantha, she shops at Woolies for sure. Okay,
That's
are we going to go with that?
Well, let's look in Samantha.
Okay. Caller, is your name Samantha?
No.
Ah, well, what is it then?
Siobhan.
Oh,
I
okay.
was vibing an S.
Yeah,
Damn it.
we
You
were
got
on
the
the on
right
the S.
person, that's it.
Okay, well that's good. At least we learned a lot about the type of person Siobhan is. So thanks for calling. We'll try and guess it another time. Luke and Lewis, the Sunday Experiment. Luke, you recently went to a wedding.
Yes, I'm up on the Gold Coast at the moment, attending a wedding, and this is
Mm-hmm.
my second wedding in about 8 days. So I went from
Smashing
no
'em
weddings.
out.
Yeah, I went from no weddings at all in my entire life to
Yep.
2 in a fortnight or under a fortnight. So it's been wedding city for me, and one thing I've noticed is the forced participation of group dancers at these events. Now, obviously, I've been to functions, 21st, events
Yep.
before where I've obviously time warped. I've done the Nutbush. I've done the
Mm-hmm.
Macarena. But
Yep.
I feel like wedding is a congregation of people who want to do them all. And
You
to the-
must join
to
in.
the point where, yeah, if you're not joining in, you're a sour sport. And also, it got to the point where there was a whole wedding, 100 people doing a conga line at
Too
one
many
point
people.
of the night, which is just, and I didn't even know there was a song that you had to conga to. Is this the song, James?
No, it's typically just like if you've got, I think it's the conga drum.
I think you can
'Cause
kind
I
of
think-
just conga to anything,
Dude,
can't
I think we were congering to like Mr. Brightside. Like it was just a
That's
disaster.
I take it back. You can't conga to everything, right? I reckon congering to just like the sound of the green light going off to cross the road is more appropriate than doing it to
Like the
Mr.
ticker.
Brightside. Yeah, it's definitely not a conga
Yeah.
tune.
It was such a Gold Coast wedding. Like
Yeah.
it was just a bunch of people congering to the Killers. And what I wanted to know is how many group dances becomes too many? Because I'll just list all the ones that I've done.
I think
in
as
the
a
last
human
2 weeks.
culture, it seems like every 5-10 years we add another one that everyone has to learn and do.
But here's the problem. We don't get rid of any. So we just
Mm.
keep accumulating group dances that you're supposed to know because the time warp's so old. Now that came on, and if it wasn't instructional, I would
Yeah.
have been so lost. Like I was already bad at it, and it's like, put your hands on your hips, and I was like, okay, I can do that. And
Yeah.
then put your feet in tight. I was like, oh, great. And I quickly would pull
Yeah.
my feet in tight. If that wasn't instructional, I would have been a lost boy on that dance floor.
Well, I think that all of the new dances, because the internet's come out and you can just post the video of the dance,
Of the
they've
dance,
got
yeah.
no instructions. So if you haven't seen the video, you just suck at the dance.
Yeah, like there's this new one called The Get Up that got played. Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't know what was going on. I'm not one. I felt like so old. It was in that moment that I was like, I'm no longer young, and I'm only 23, and I feel like I missed this one.
Yeah, I think I've heard this song, but I didn't know that it had a
But
dance.
it is instructional. If you listen to the lyrics, it's like gotta do the hip swing, and that tells you what to do with your
Right.
arms and your feet. And then everyone was doing it. There was a 40-year-old guy next to me doing the dance perfectly, and I was like, this guy must have kids.
He
See?
must be dancing with his kids.
Yeah, I'm in this weird generational gap where I'm not 10, but I also don't have a kid myself, so I miss these group dances.
We got to
So
sort that.
And also, another thing I was thinking, there's some dance phases that just never caught on, and which aren't being played at weddings, thank God. Like, remember Crank That by Soulja Boy? That was like
Oh,
a
man, imagine
a
a wedding where
6-week
everyone was
period.
doing the Superman. That would be sick. I'd go.
I wouldn't. Yeah, but my point is, I just think as a society, can we stop accumulating dances? So, Lewis, if we were to lose a few,
Yeah.
which ones will we be losing? I would definitely, the last weekend at the wedding,
Yeah.
they forced 100 people into doing the chicken dance.
Oh, we're losing that.
I think
We
it's
are
got to
getting
go.
rid of that.
Oh,
That
really?
is for no, that's for toddlers.
Okay.
I
That's not
didn't-
for adults to do.
It's not. I'll be honest, I'd had a good night by that time. Many
Yeah.
trips to the bar, and not even after when I was in that state was I like, oh yeah, you know what I want to do? 30 reps of the chicken dance.
Yeah, not
It's
good.
so repetitive. I did about one cycle, and I was like, I think I'm out.
Yeah, any song that has like chicken noises in it is not a tune. So turn it off. This is a controversial one. I'm getting rid of the nut bush.
You don't like it?
I'm
Only
sick of
because
it.
You're uncoordinated.
Overdone. Oh, and because I'm over-coordinated. I'm too
know what?
long. I'm so tall that whenever I stick my leg out, I take out the person next to me's ankle.
Yeah.
So it's dangerous. Maybe I'll just sit out the nut bush. You guys can keep it, but I'll
Well-
just stay out of it.
What I would like, and maybe we could make this the solution to this, is we just do one point of the night, we all get on the dance floor, and we just do like a medley. Or everyone together, and we do 1 minute of each. We Macarena for a minute, we nut push for a minute, we time warp.
Yeah.
And then we just get it all done. We get it out of our system.
Yeah, this is great. That's
And
good.
then, boom, we're done. And then the rest of the night, we can just, do conga lines to
Just
the
fist
Killers
bump.
or
That's
whatever.
it. That's all you need. That's
Yeah.
great. Okay.
Great. Good,
Problem
it's sorted.
solved. Great.
So if any wedding celebrants, or I'm not sure whose job, any wedding planners are out there, give it up. Stop making me time warp. I'm over it.
Luke and Lewis, the Sunday Experiment. Luke, I encountered a very common problem that I think everybody encounters not too often, but when it hits you, it's a bad issue, right? I encountered one of the sweatiest handshakes I've ever experienced in my life in Sydney.
Yeah. So you know how people complain about wet fish handshakes when they're just sloppily, like
Where
they
they're just
have
not
a-
firm.
Yeah. What is actually worse is a wet handshake.
Yeah.
Heaps worse.
Yeah, and the only way you can top that is like a drenched wet fish handshake,
Yeah.
which is just not good. It's like the worst of both worlds.
I wouldn't even call it a handshake at that point.
Yeah, that's just more like fishing.
I would just, like, so when that happens, it's like, you know what's worse? You can tell when it's sweat as opposed to water for some reason.
Yeah, you
Because
can just tell.
Water's usually cold. It's like, oh, this person's washed their hands recently. And then when you get, it's clammy.
When you
and
get a
that's
room
the thing.
temperature handshake, not good.
Ooh, and
Yeah.
it's moist at the same time. No good.
But also the bad thing about it is they know. Like if you are the sweaty hands person, you kind of know, and it's not a diss to these people because I get it, but you know, and then you know you're doing it to the other person, and the other person knows they've just copped it, but both of us just go, this sucks. And
What do
they're-
you do? Like, do you put Rexona in your gloves? Like, how do you combat that?
I think people get Botox in their hands. If it's really bad, you get Botox to kind of plug your sweat glands. But you have to keep getting it done like every couple of months because obviously you use your hands heaps.
you just plug up your hands.
Essentially, and then I guess maybe by the end of a couple of years, you'll have giant Mickey Mouse glove hands, just full up with silicone. But I had one of the worst ones I've ever had. I did a show, and I meet everybody after my show. So generally, how it goes, they come up, shake their hand, get a photo, and then move on, shake the next person's hand. Now, what happened was I shook the wettest hand that I've ever shaken in my life, incredibly sweaty. The guy knew it as well. I saw it in his eyes. He felt bad. Whatever, nothing against him. Shook his hand, did the photo, and then I wiped his hand on my jeans and then went to the next person, shook their hand, and they went, "Oh, you've got sweaty hands, dude." The other guy's hand was so sweaty that he transferred it to a third party. It was horrible. And then I felt like him. I just realized that how awful it is to do that to someone.
Yeah, but did you just start shaming the other guy? I wouldn't have copped that. I would have been like, how dare you? It was this man. And I would have pointed at him as he was walking out of the meet and greet.
Give him a high five. I can prove it.
Yeah. I would have made him come back, proven his sweat.
Yeah.
And then, I guess, that's pretty rude.
Yeah, I
so
think-
you copped it.
Yes. So I got it. And this was even after I wiped it on my jeans. So I'd already tried to get rid of it and I still transferred it. It wasn't good.
So you need like a Dyson in your meet and greet.
I really do.
Just
right?
get an air blade in there. If you just get 15 seconds between every person.
Here's what I think, right? If you are the sweaty hands person, the solution is be the fist bump guy. Everybody likes fist bump guy. If you go in with a confident fist bump and people go, "Oh, he doesn't have sweaty hands. He's just like a fun, cool guy." Be fist
Yeah.
bump man. That's
Yeah,
the
but
solution.
you know what? It sounds like that guy, his hands were so sweaty, he would have also had sweaty knuckles.
You don't want to cop a wet fist.
Wet knuckles.
Luke and Lewis, the Sunday Experiment. Luke, I did a show last night in Melbourne, and I had a crazy conversation with someone in the audience. I was talking about the suburb Frankston here, which is a very tough place. And of
The
course,
word you're looking for is a burning hole
Okay.
in Melbourne.
Oh, okay,
All right. Shout out to all the listeners in Frankston, guys.
Yeah.
yeah, we love you guys, but put the fire out.
Hope, yeah.
But yeah, so I was talking about that, and someone yelled out and that they were from there. So I get talking to him because, of course, whatever he's going to say, it'll be an insane story. And I eventually get to what he does for a job, and he goes, "I'm a snake catcher." I'm like, "Okay, how long have you been a snake catcher for?" And he goes, "Oh, like professionally, or?" Which, so
It's like, yes, of course I was asking about your professional career, because if you're an amateur snake catcher, you're just a guy that, like, I don't know.
well,
tries
yeah,
to
I got
put
the story
snakes
out of
in
him.
sacks.
His name was Tynan, and he just grew up catching snakes in the bush for fun as a hobby, and then eventually started charging people for it because someone told him that he probably should. But I got talking to this guy, and I asked him what kind of pets he has, and he actually told me that he has 3 crocodiles in his home. And like crocodiles, real
on.
freshwater crocodiles.
If you're a professional snake catcher, you're not catching them for yourself. Like, you're not catching them for personal use.
That's what
Are
it
you?
sounds like he was
Don't
doing.
you have to not dispose of them? Don't you have to, like, where do they take the snakes?
I think you have to relocate them to a place where they won't get back to like a
Oh,
human area.
So he was like, my lounge room is
Yes,
very relocated.
actually. And I asked him, like, "Oh, how big? Like, do you have a farm or a swamp?" And he goes, "Nah, just like a regular suburban home." I'm like, "Where are the crocs? In the backyard?" He goes, "Nah, the living room. I have 3 just in the living room."
Does he live with his parents?
No, he just lives with himself and 3 crocodiles. I assume they ate his parents. And I thought he wasn't. I thought he was joking, but he showed me the photos of his crocodiles just sitting on his lap while he's on a couch, and they're going to get to 13 meters. And I asked him, "What are you going to do when it gets to 13 meters?" And he goes, "Oh, I'll probably move them from the kitchen into the backyard." And tell the neighbors not to let their cats out anymore.
Is his backyard a swamp?
No, it's just
know
like a
what's-
normal backyard.
You know what's the crazy part? Having 3 crocodiles in your living room would still be the safest part of Frankston. Like, I'd back myself in that lounge room more than, like,
There's
the
security,
pub.
if you think about it.
Yeah.
But it got me thinking. 131060, give us a call. What is the craziest pet you've ever owned? We're not talking like dogs, unless it has 3 heads or something. That's pretty crazy. I'll let that one in. Not a dog or a cat. Something that probably should be in a zoo instead of your living room. Give us a call. 131060. What's the weirdest pet you've ever owned? Luke and Lewis, we asked you guys on 131060, what's the weirdest pet you've ever owned? I talked to a guy at a show who currently owns 3 crocodiles just in his house. Doesn't have a zoo, doesn't have a sanctuary, doesn't live in a swamp. He just has a normal, like, 2-bedroom house with a kitchen full of crocodiles.
See, like, that's not weird if you're like part of the Irwin family or something like that. You'd expect that from someone, but they also own a zoo. You're right.
Yeah, like they
shouldn't-
never were like, "Oh, check out these crocs in my house."
Like, does he take the crocodiles for walks? Like, how do you domesticate a crocodile?
Well, one of them's called Damo because, of course, it is.
Is it actually?
This is all true. This
Yeah,
is
okay.
all real, right? It sounds fake. It's all true. One of them's called Damo. Another one's called Harriet. I'm like, well, why does that have a normal name? And he goes, "Oh, it's called Harriet because I wanted to call it Harry because they live under the stairs, but it's a girl." So, there you go. That's the kind of champion who owns 3 crocodiles. It's great. But we asked you guys on 131060, what weird pets do you have? We'll bring up the first caller here.
Got Alicia here. Hi, Alicia.
Hi.
What weird pets do you have, Alicia?
I used to have a monkey.
Really?
Yeah.
As in you own, like, as in your house?
Yeah, we used to have a monkey in our house back when we lived in Thailand.
Oh, that makes sense.
Cool.
Because
Yeah.
it's fairly common. I've seen monkeys in bars in Thailand, so to have them in a
Yeah.
house, probably not much of a stretch.
No, they're everywhere. They're everywhere.
So did you buy this monkey as a pet, or did it just kind
no,
of...
we took it in from a shelter.
So you
Monkey
kidnapped a
shelter.
monkey?
Well, no, we didn't kidnap
You
it. They
adopted
said
it.
that you adopted it, yeah.
Yeah, that's great. And then, so did it just like grow up and then leave, or did it just stay there
well,
forever?
we eventually left Thailand and then we gave it back to the shelter.
Oh, okay, that's awesome. Cool. All right, what was its name?
Its name was Lucky.
Lucky. You
Yeah.
didn't think about Damo?
No,
No?
it didn't really come to mind.
That's interesting.
All right. Well, maybe the
No.
next animal
Yeah,
will be
next
called
monkey.
Damo.
That's a good one. Now, Damien, do you have a weird pet?
Oh, we've got Damo on the line. This is good. Damo, what have you called your pet?
I called my pet Shadow.
Yeah, and what was it?
It was a rooster that I grew in my room.
So it's not at a farm.
No, it was in my bedroom, just normal residential house.
So did it like scream every morning?
Yeah, it started to. It's, like, I got it from those primary school experiments where you start like grow chickens in your class.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, they gave us the option to keep one. So
Is
yeah,
that illegal?
my parents, it was only like part of the experiment.
Yeah.
Like we're only going to keep it for about a month, and kept it for about 6 months.
That's
You
great.
can't just dump a chicken on a family like if you're a school. Like,
Apparently you can.
that's wild.
So
And then-
did you have to get rid of it then?
Yeah, it started cocking, like making noises and stuff.
Yeah.
Because it was locked up in your room, Damien.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, actually, one of my neighbours had a rooster, and yeah, I think my mum ended up calling the police because it would wake up at 4 a.m. and just start going ah, and wake up
What
the
do you
whole
even
neighbourhood.
say? Like, oh, this is Triple O. What's your emergency? I think the neighbour has a rooster.
Yeah.
That's wild. All
Thanks,
right,
Damien.
Aaron, wrap us up. What weird pet do you have?
So I used to have 2 camels.
Two.
2 camels. That's great.
Like, do you like live in the suburbs?
Nah, so I live in a town. I was on a couple acres, but we used to have lots of houses around us.
Mm.
I was hoping
they
you'd
used
say a city apartment then.
That would have been good. What were they
Uh,
called?
Not quite. So Boris and Duchess.
Yeah, right.
That's good. That's good. So Duchess was a bit of royalty.
No, she was a bit of a wild child. She used to eat Dad's roses. Definitely no royalty.
That's good. And did you have to give them up, or what happened to them?
So we had them for a couple of years, and then they went back to their owner. Boris ended up being on the comedy festival a year later. He ended up walking through the crowd as a part of a joke.
Oh, that's good. So he turned into a star.
Classic Boris.
Bit
great.
famous.
And did Duchess make it on TV at any point?
No, I think she went back to the farm. I don't think she went too far from there.
Oh, okay.
Actually, Lewis,
Yeah.
before we go, that's great, Aaron. But Meg, my girlfriend, is here with me in
Yeah.
the Gold Coast studio. She told me before the song that she used to have a pet possum. And we don't live like. What did you mean?
I had a pet possum. Yeah.
So
I
for
mean, I
how
didn't-
long?
I didn't get it from like a pet store, but
Oh, you kidnapped
you
the possum.
can't
no,
get a possum
no,
from a
I
pet
found it in
store.
the wild.
Yeah.
It was.
So you ripped it out of a tree. You're like, you're mine now. Your name's Damo. Good on ya.
No, I left it in the tree. I just tried to befriend it. I just gave it like
Oh,
apples
that's
and
not a
shit.
pet. You go, no, I had a
No,
pet possum.
no.
You just befriended a possum. Did you just
I like to. Maybe the term is like possum acquaintance.
Okay, you fed a possum twice and called it your pet, all right? False.
great.
Not true. Luke and Lewis, the Sunday Experiment. Luke, you recently experienced my worst nightmare.
Yes, Lewis, I went to Movie World on Friday. Now, you are not a fan of rides,
No.
fun, or roller coasters.
Oh,
in
fun,
general.
least of all.
Yes.
Not about that.
You're the type of person that reads books at parties.
Oh,
You-
no, excuse me. I
you-
leave parties to read books. I
Okay.
don't read them at the party. Get it straight.
True, that would actually be more social if you did it at the party.
Yeah, someone could interrupt me with some kind of conversation. Yuck!
So Lewis and I have had one theme park experience together.
Mm-hmm.
Last year we went to White Water World, which is
Yep.
the water slide theme park in Queensland. And
Yep.
Lewis wouldn't even walk up the stairs to go on a water slide, let alone a roller coaster.
I don't like heights. I don't like heights or rides, and I understand being 6'8" tall. That's incredibly ironic, but it's still true.
Yeah, I was gonna say your whole life is like one big theme park.
Yeah,
when
I
you
am.
walk
I
into
am a
room.
height. I walk.
Yes.
I walk around with anxiety, just like, oh, this is pretty high.
Yeah, what about like if you fell, you could probably actually die.
I could. Yeah, it's a hazard.
Yeah. Well, it's a long drop. That's
Yeah,
what I'm saying.
take out a few
Do you
people
have
on the
to wear
way.
a harness all the time?
Nah, I've got about 2 minutes to plan my landing, so I'm always sweet.
So I went to Movie World, and there's a newish roller coaster there
Yep.
called the DC Hypercoaster. Now,
Mhm.
Lewis, I'd never been on it before. It is the tallest, the fastest and the longest hypercoaster in the southern hemisphere. 1.4 kilometers of track. So if you're hating it 100 meters in, strap in because you have 1.3 kilometers to go.
Luke, you lost me at hypercoaster. Okay.
That's the thing. They're not even doing roller coasters anymore. I found all these new words this week.
Yeah.
There's roller coasters. They're a thing in the past. Now there's hypercoasters. And there's also apparently a thing called, I think it's called like a strata coaster or something.
They just chuck you in a cannon and shoot you into space. See you later.
So I wanted to cordially invite you, Lewis. Now, obviously, it'd be a good place to start, I feel. Like, this is what I did. I went to Movie World, 10 a.m. I went on the best ride first.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, let's just go. Let's just get it out of the way. Let's just rip it off like a Band-Aid. I went on that one first.
The hypercoaster first.
Yeah, then when I went on like the Superman, which is like 0 to 100 kilometers in a second, I was like, this is nothing. Like, so I think maybe to overcome your fear of roller coasters, in this case, hypercoasters, maybe we should just go straight to that one.
Just because I'm scared of roller coasters, I think, oh, no, it's roller coasters, no way. Hypercoasters, easy. I can do that.
Well, maybe it's not a roller coaster.
Luke, I understand how much you want me to get on these rides because it would be very funny to watch me freak out. But
No,
I
that's not
remember
why.
when we went to Dream World, we actually looked at a few rides and all of the height limits were 2 meters, which is my height.
I don't think
You
this
don't
one,
want to just scrape in.
this
you know?
one didn't have a height limit.
Are you
You're
sure?
fine.
No, I'm pretty sure they have a height
we can-
limit.
we can check.
Actually, I looked at the website. They said anyone called Lewis Spears cannot ride. It's actually against the rules. Look it up.
Not in the terms and conditions. But as a friend, we
Yeah.
are going to Brisbane together
We
in
are.
late November.
Yeah.
Wouldn't it be great? We just duck up to the Gold Coast for a day, hit a hypercoaster, one ride, in and out.
My
and
heart
all of a
rate's
sudden-
already increasing just thinking about
But
it.
dude, it will
That's enough for me.
overcome your fear like that. It was just like, then afterwards, we can party on the Scooby-Doo ride. That's a barrel of laughs compared to the hypercoaster.
Luke, let me tell you a story. One time, I was in a shopping center and they had virtual reality pods, the chairs that move. And my girlfriend was like, oh, let's do them. Let's do the roller coaster. And I was like, oh, I can do a virtual reality roller coaster. No worries. Put the headset on. The chair starts moving. I go up the ride. I go down. Took the headset off. I almost spewed and screamed. Can't even do it when it's not real, man. I don't think this is going to happen.
It's fine, dude. I suck on those rides as well. One time when I was a kid, I threw up on the teacups. So you're fine. Can we get a tentative maybe?
I'll look at it from a distance. That's all I can promise. We'll see.
What about you look at it from a first-person perspective, strapped into the seat as we're going up the roller coaster?
We'll
Deal?
talk about it during the song.
You are so against this. What a party pooper.
Luke and Lewis, the Sunday Experiments. Luke, you're in another studio. You're in a different city, and you have someone else's whiteboard in front of you.
Yes, so I'm in the Gold Coast in their breakfast show studio, which means there's a whole whiteboard here of content ideas for their show. Now,
So not our ideas. This
Not
is
our ideas.
probably the ideas that they did this morning on radio.
and then also the interesting part below was there was some ideas below that didn't make the show. So the little dot points below on the whiteboard that
Ooh.
perhaps got brought up in the planning meeting of their show, however, didn't make the final cut. So we're all about working smarter, not harder on this show.
Okay, well,
What do you think?
I reckon maybe after the song, we should try some of their ideas, figure out which one we like, and
Yes.
just do one.
And also, during the week, Lewis, coming up, I took a photo that pissed everyone off on my Instagram.
Great. Luke and Lewis, the Sunday Experiment. Luke, you are doing the show from a different city, and you are currently in someone else's studio. So in front of you, you have a whiteboard full of a different show's ideas of what to talk about on their show.
That is correct. So I'm in the Gold Coast, and there's a whiteboard in front of me, and there's so many ideas. So there's all the ideas that I think they talked about on air this morning on their radio show, and there's also a bunch of ideas on the whiteboard that they have decided to not include on their show.
So
Now,
stuff that's not good enough, you would think,
Yeah,
for Gold
well,
Coast Breakfast Radio.
or stuff that maybe they were saving for tomorrow or another
Stuff that's
time.
too good for anyone to
good.
hear.
And on this show, now the last thing we would want to be seen as is content thefts. That's
No.
not what we're about. But we do like working smarter, not harder
Absolutely.
on this show.
Absolutely. Content
guess
recycling, perhaps.
Recycling is a better...
Because if you think about it, everything made that goes out really becomes the radio's, they own that.
Yes.
So we work for the radio. So really, anything they've said, we said. It's also our idea, Luke.
That's... yep, okay. If you want to justify it like that, my idea was perhaps I can... You can't see this whiteboard. I'm the only one who can see it. I can pitch you a few of their ideas that they've got written on their whiteboard.
Well, hang
here.
on. Do you, what do you see? Do you just see like 3 words?
Oh, no, dude, there is like 15 ideas here. Like there's just little...
But each idea,
for
does it have a
example,
description
there's
about
one,
it?
No, there's one that just says Google says. I don't know what that means.
Okay,
but-
so you're just going to read like the title
I'll
of
read,
the
like,
idea
the
and we'll
subject.
fill in the gaps.
Yeah, so
Cool.
no, here's what I was thinking. I read you about 3 to 4 different subjects or ideas
Okay.
that they were going to do, and
Yep.
then you can decide which one you want to do on our show next.
Okay, great.
Great.
Awesome.
So I guess what it is, what this is content theft.
Oh, great.
Great.
Well,
So-
as long as we're cool with that, let's
Now,
continue. What are we stealing today?
Their first idea is
Uh-huh.
a simple phone call situation, which just says 131060. What keeps happening to you? Quite broad.
Very broad. What's happening to you? Oh, bro, heaps of breathing and eating.
Yeah.
I feel like that's the calls that you would get.
So I'm not sure where they're going with that. I think what they were meaning maybe was, does the thing keep happening over and over to you? I think
Yeah.
that's maybe what their one
Okay.
was. Another one
That's all right, don't mind
on
that.
their list, it says, where do you find oats? Or it says, where do you find dates? It's really bad handwriting.
Oats or so you don't know if it says dates or
so
oats.
it says, where do you find, I think it says, where do you find oats?
Hey,
or they've mucked
Luke.
up the D.
Luke,
Yeah.
does oats have an E in it?
Does the plural? No.
No, it doesn't.
Ah,
It
okay.
definitely says dates.
Okay. Well,
Why would oats have an E in it, man?
well, don't blame me. This person doesn't
I've
even
got
know
an
how to write
idea.
a D.
Can Luke read?
Yeah.
It doesn't matter about the D. It's the E. There's no E in oats.
Yeah, but this guy is illiterate. He can't even write a D. It's a perfect O. Is that a word? Oats with an E? Because
No,
it's not a D.
It's not. I'm
All
sorry.
right. Well, whoever is producing this breakfast show needs to lift in the handwriting department. All right. The third idea, and okay, there's 2 more. One just says dot point finger stumps. Not sure what that is.
Like if you've lost a finger and you just have a finger stump,
Maybe. And then this is the
or
final
you find
one.
a tree stump and you just poke it.
Right.
Maybe.
This is the final one.
Mhm.
131060. This is actually written on their board. Mums that yeet.
Oh man, we got to do mums that yeet.
Okay.
That's good.
So
131060. Are you a mum that yeets? Give us a call.
are you a mum that has yeeted something recently? Now, if you don't know what the word yeet refers to, it refers to throwing an object across a room and then screaming yeet as you do it. Yeah, that's better.
Yeah. So, are you a mum who yeets?
So-
131060. Now, Luke, did this idea on their board, did this make
Now-
their show, or is this in the no pile?
No, Lewis, 3 of those 4 ideas did not make the show. This is the one that did. At 7:15 a.m. this morning, Gold Coast Radio did 131060 Mums That Eat.
This is the one that shouldn't have made it on radio, and now it's on radio twice.
It's
so,
getting cycled twice in one day.
Right.
Are you a mum that has yeeted something? The only reason why I want to do this is because I'm jealous that I didn't get to hear those calls this morning.
Luke and Lewis, it's a Sunday experiment, and the experiment that we just tried was stealing another radio show's ideas. Luke, how did we go?
It didn't go that well. We asked on 131060 because I'm here on the Gold Coast, Lewis.
Yeah.
And there's another radio show's list of ideas on their whiteboard in the
Yeah.
studio. One of the ideas that is up on that whiteboard is mums that yeet. Which is referring to mums that throw things across a room and yell yeet as they do it. Now, we thought this was a great content idea. So we wanted to. I thought, wait,
Obviously,
if
it's good enough for Gold Coast Breakfast Radio. It's good enough for our show.
Exactly. If it's worked on their show, like surely there's mums all around the country that yeet. Apparently, only on the Gold Coast.
Yeah.
Because no
At
one
6
called.
a.m.
Yes, there's no mums that yeet. So what
They
we're
must
gonna...
all be asleep. They're tired from a busy day of yeeting stuff, like chucking fridges across the road.
So what we're gonna do, Lewis, is instead of doing that segment, we're gonna what's known in the industry as moving on.
That's good. That's
Quite
good.
it's a little bit of a term we use. in the
Jeez, I
biz
wonder if
called
they
give
got
up.
calls. Do you reckon they had to do this? Where
Yeah,
they
I
got no
reckon they
calls?
must have had to move on.
Probably shouldn't have been on the board.
Now, Lewis,
Yep.
I'm up on the Gold Coast, as I said.
Mm-hmm.
Up here, there is a lot of cane toads everywhere. They're essentially, if you don't know what a cane toad is, it's a dirty frog, right? It is not a nice looking frog.
Yeah.
I was at a wedding last night, went outside, and there was a cane toad. And now I said, I put up my Instagram story. I started filming this toad. It was dark. I couldn't really tell. I saw something hopping, and I immediately just landed on frog because I'm a Melburnian. We don't see cane toads all that much.
No.
So when I see something leaping like a frog, my brain goes, "Oh, frog."
Yes.
So I put this up on my Instagram story. I was like, "Oh, look at this frog," or whatever. I forget what I said. I was just following the frog, walking behind it. Great content. I think we can all agree.
Amazing.
What I didn't realize at this time was how many people it was gonna utterly disappoint and make angry.
People
I
hate cane toads because they're a pest, aren't
Dude,
they?
I infuriated the entire state. I reckon I received about 50 messages going, firstly, mate, not a frog, it's a cane toad. And I was like, fair enough. Okay, I got that wrong. I'll cop that. But what I wasn't expecting was 95% of these messages were accompanied with a really mean, aggressive sentiment towards cane toads.
Oh, so they hate them.
Well, do they hate them so much?
Yeah. Like
one guy just, and I'm going to have to censor these because, again, they were quite aggressive messages that I received. Someone
Pretty
said,
common if they're coming from Brisbane.
yes, they are effing disgusting. I at one of my door once. You should hit it with a golf club.
Yep.
Was one. F toads, bro. Hate those. And then another F word. Frogs, though. Love me a good frog. That one was from Ashton. So
That's
good on
good.
you, Ashton. But look, these continue. They're filthy was one of the words used.
Yeah.
Someone was saying I should have curb stomped that, and there's a B word. So again, look.
So they're
I'm
just
not gonna,
calling for violence against
I'm not
all cane
condoning
toads.
this language, but what I was surprised about was actually how much people up here hate cane toads.
Well,
So-
yeah, because they are a very damaging pest to the environment. So we are trying to get rid of them. I didn't know this as well.
No, it got to the point where most people were actually angry
That you did not kill it.
That's the thing. People were like, "How dare you just film it and let it be?" the general consensus was like, "Curb stomp it, get a golf club." Some guy said, "Oh, every household." Now I don't know if this is a fact. It seems like this is a massive generalization, but someone said, "Oh, every household in Queensland has a toad stick, mate." And I was like, "What's the toad stick for?" And he goes, "For hitting toads." So is that, I don't know, maybe we get people
I
to
think
call
it
in.
might be.
We don't have to. It's just, why the hate? I mean, I get that
Well,
they're pests.
I have a similar story. I remember a couple of years ago, I got a video of someone killing a cane toad sent to me on Snapchat, and I was horrified. I didn't know that it was a cane toad. I didn't know they were pests. So I sent them a really angry message back going, how could you do that to an animal and then film it? That's disgusting. And all they sent back was, typical Melburnian.
Oh, wow.
So I guess it's just standard there. They don't like cane toads. And hey, fair enough.
Queensland, 2 words. Just calm down.
Luke and Lewis, the Sunday Experiments. Luke, as you know, I had my Melbourne show. I'm a stand-up comedian. I did a comedy show on last night, Saturday night.
Yes.
Now, Luke, I have
wild.
Oh, it was great. It was very wild. In fact, it was so wild. That very same night, I did my very first stage dive.
Wait, at the show?
No.
Oh,
I
so
did not
you-
do it at my show.
Okay, so when you start a story
Yeah.
and go like, so I did a show last night, and then
Yeah.
you end it with, I did my first stage dive.
Yeah.
I hope you're aware that it heavily implies that you stage dived at your comedy show.
Oh, I know that, but like if I did that, if you can't stage dive into a bunch of people that are sitting on chairs, you'll just end up injuring everyone and yourself.
That's why I was surprised, because on my little like run sheet, we have a little sheet that I have in front of me, and it just said Lewis did his first stage dive, and all I'm thinking is like, how crazy did your show get?
Oh
Like,
yeah,
you
not
were
that
doing
crazy.
a comedy club. That would be wild. Just jump into people's beers and tables.
Yeah. No, so there's two crazy things to this story, Luke. So the first crazy thing is that I did my first stage time. The second, more craziest thing is that after my show, I actually went out to a party, which is where the stage dive happened. So
What?
I know. Yeah,
By
I went out to-
yourself?
Well,
I mean,
by-
that's not surprising.
Well, no, I was meeting friends. They had some kind of after party on.
But
So-
I wasn't there.
I know.
Oh, you have other friends.
Mate, my life's changing. So things are happening. I'm stage diving now. I have friends. I'm in a
Yeah.
rock band. It's all happening.
How many books did you bring to the party?
Man, I brought my Kindle, so technically I brought a library, not a book. So many books, thousands, millions, really. But I got there, and it was I got to the place. I didn't know that it was going to be like a nightclub situation, but I arrived and it was pumping. So I get there and I start looking for my friends, and they had like a VIP section that had its own stage, and they were all on stage, right, dancing, having fun. And so I go up to say hello to my friends. They're not performing, they're just on a stage for some reason while music plays. I go up to say hello. I go to shake my friend's hand. He grabs me, turns me around, and starts pushing me off the stage, going, do a stage dive, do a stage dive. I'm like, I don't want to. I just
That's
thought
how
he
he
was trying to
greeted
hurt
you.
me. Yeah, I didn't even get to say hello. He just started pushing me off the stage, trying to get
Have
me
you
to
ever
a
thought
stage
that they
dive.
just didn't want you there?
That's what I thought initially, but then I saw them do it to 6 other people. And
great.
I did my first stage dive.
So you got peer pressured into your first stage dive, and how was it? Did people catch you? You're quite tall.
Oh, it was.
You're
it was
6'8".
It was very awkward. I was too long. Like my.
Was there even enough crowd?
There was enough crowd, but the problem is, right, the center of my body was kind of on the stage by the time they caught my back. So I didn't really stage dive. I more like stage tipped, and then they helped me back up. That's kind of what happened.
You just slowly like waded into the crowd.
Yeah, one guy pushed me into the crowd, and then they pushed me back on the stage. It was like a tug of war, but with
See-
my body.
You're like that guy at the local swimming pool. He doesn't want to dive in. The pool's a bit cold, so he
Yeah.
just goes like puts a toe in, and
Yeah.
then okay.
And
So
I
you
tell
just
you
got
what,
pushed
man.
into a crowd.
And I got my ass grabbed a lot. So, but you know, that's one thing to check off the bucket list.
So
I did my
would
first
you-
stage tilt.
Wait, so how long did you crowd surf for?
Oh, it was a good 3 seconds. I went
Oh,
out and then I came back. So
It's not that long.
it wasn't
I
that
feel like
long.
that's under average. Like if you ask most rock stars, like, hey, what's like an average crowd surf? I reckon like 10 seconds would be like the average, or
Well,
even
I
15
think-
to 20.
I think I may have been like the 20th person that had done the stage dive. So
Yeah.
by that point, the crowd was like, yeah, 3 seconds, next.
Yeah.
So-
So it was almost like it was more amusing for the people on the stage than the crowd at that point.
Yeah, I
That's
think
fair.
so. See, what would have been good if I did a long stage time and I got a bit of time to go around the whole venue, smash out a bit of reading before I got back on stage.
Yeah. That will next time.
Next time we'll do
Someone
that.
can just push you into a Kindle.
Luke and Lewis, the Sunday experiments. We found out that Tesla, the car, has enabled the recent feature where you can actually download a different sound effect for your horn depending on the situation.
Yes, Elon Musk tweeted during the week that customized horn and movement sounds, and then he's wrote in brackets, coconuts being one, of course. Why, of course? Who was thinking, oh, geez, hopefully coconuts are included? Coconuts also aren't a sound. Does he mean coconuts like Monty Python, like clapping together?
I think that's what he means, like the horse trotting the
Or is it just
coconut
someone
noise.
slurping a coconut or something?
I could be slurping. I don't know.
And then he also replied to that tweet with fart and goat sounds too, of course.
Oh, I have to buy a Tesla now.
Yeah, like everyone was going like, well, you know what? You didn't have me on coconuts, but fart and goat, that's great.
I just wondered,
What
like,
about goat farts? Ooh.
that would
Ooh,
be good.
So that would be a little bit like a.
That's good. So we obviously James, our button pusher here, has loaded up a bunch of sound effects, and we have come up with a few situations, and so has James, of what sound effects could be used for what situations. I have an idea. I think that normal cars are limited. The horn is generally like an angry, scary thing. You never really have something that just lets you know, hey, I'm here. Like in a parking lot situation, I reckon the perfect thing to play.
Wait, hang on. Isn't that what a horn's purpose is? To
Yeah,
let
but
you know
they-
that I'm here.
They're always kind of loud, you know, like you can
Yeah,
scare
okay.
someone. I feel like if you were in a parking lot and you're just letting someone know that you're there so they don't walk in front of you, you could play this.
Hello.
Just Frank Walker
Frank.
from National
Hello.
Tires. Yeah. just to let them hello, just to let them know.
Hello.
You know, I would turn around and be like, "Oh, it's Frank. Oh no, it's a car." And then that's much safer. I
Do
think
you
that's
think
good.
that would be? No, not really, because you've turned around, you've stopped watching the road, and you just then want a photo with Frank Walker.
That's true.
Yeah.
They might just get very disappointed, but also quite safe.
Yeah, I like that, and I think definitely better in an Australian market. I don't
Mm.
know if Frank Walker has hit an international market with his tiles yet,
Mhm.
but
Well,
maybe
it is national tiles, isn't it?
It
not-
is.
it's not international tiles
yeah.
though. He's not. I don't think he's selling tiles in Uganda. Like I
I
don't
don't think so. No.
I don't think they have Teslas yet, actually. So, you know.
So
James, you have a couple of other sound
yeah,
effects?
so I was wondering, like, maybe if you were angry at another driver, you
Yeah.
could maybe do a bit of a
That's good.
freak him out a bit.
Open up the court case.
Yeah.
That's if you're that's the sound you make when you get out of the car
Yeah.
to have a debate over whose fault it was. And every time you make your point, you just go bang and just hit it.
Again, I still feel like these are actually more distracting than regular horns.
That's
'Cause,
true.
because there's so many different types of them. Like, you know how like if someone gives you a horn, you kind of know in your head like, oh, I know exactly what they mean by that.
Yeah.
I'm in the wrong place, or I'm not moving, or something. I'm in the way. Usually is what it means.
Yeah.
If you heard dun dun, you'd be like, is someone watching Law and Order, or is this a horn? Am I in the right, wrong? It's very confusing.
Well, do you have any ideas of sound effects that you'd use?
I think what I was thinking of was the start of Circle of Life.
Oh,
So
yeah,
just
so something
like-
like that.
So
Where
and
would
that-
you use this?
That's more like I'm merging and I'm coming through no matter what. It's like you're
good.
entering a freeway and you just let everyone know, like, incoming.
So you play that instead of indicating.
Yeah.
No
yeah,
head
pretty-
check,
actually,
just hit the intro.
Yes. And I think people will clear if they hear that.
That's
They'll be
true.
like, oh, it
think-
sends a message.
A bit of
For sure.
a fun one that you could do out on the roads. Does that?
But why would you? That's what you play right before you rear end someone, just to make it seem a little bit more silly, so they get less angry.
The problem with this, and look, Elon Musk, I reckon this is what I think about Elon Musk. I reckon 1 in every 3 of his ideas is great.
Yep.
And I honestly think 2/3 of it is him just bored, going like, "What could we do to make life a little more fun?"
What will
And I
Twitter
don't think-
like?
I don't think he thinks of the consequences of, like he said in his tweet that hopefully in the future it will be possible that people can like upload their own custom sounds to their Tesla. So imagine, all right, so Lewis, we're immature, right? Let's be real.
Oh,
you
yeah.
give us a Tesla that we can upload our own custom sounds to.
Not a good idea.
You know it's just going to be farts. That's the problem. Like the problem is he hasn't thought that. I don't think maybe he's more intelligent because he doesn't think that people
He doesn't
like
think
us
that people would do
exist.
that because he wouldn't do that. I think
Yes.
that's the problem.
But it's like, dude, you are not allowing for the dumbest people, which
I've
is us.
thought of the perfect reason to use the fart sound effect is if you're in the car with a few passengers, especially if you're an Uber driver,
Oh.
and you actually need to fart, you just play that and rip a real one, and it's
Yeah,
covered.
right. It'd have to be quick with that one. You'd want them all. You'd want a bit longer, a little bit wetter. Sorry to get graphic, but that is what you'd want in that situation.
Well, 131060, guys, give us a call. What would your sound effect be? What would you put on the Tesla, and why would you use that noise? Give us a call on 131060. We want to play your sound effects.
As a horn.
Yeah, what would your horn be? Not
Yeah.
your sound effect.
Look at
Lewis is left.
Now, Tesla, Elon Musk, who runs Tesla, has announced that Teslas will be, hopefully, have the feature to upload a custom sound effect to use as a horn that anyone can choose. So we asked you guys on 131060, what sound effect would you use as your horn? Ashley, welcome to the show. You would use this.
A horse snort.
A horse snort. So that...
So you're going to be driving down the street. So you're behind a car. It's green light, right? And they're not moving. This is what you play. How come?
No, it would be the snort. You know how they do that thing from their nose?
So more like
Okay.
a...
Oh, we've got a
Yeah.
couple of horses here, so we can cycle through them. So would it be more like...
Oh, great.
Would it be like this?
That's not a snort. That's a whinny.
No, not a whinny. Okay. Would it be a bit like this, Ashley?
Oh, another whinny.
No?
Slightly different
No,
whinny.
like from their nose.
Yeah.
Okay.
Can you give us what sound effect it would be?
No, I can't do it myself.
Oh,
But
because
when
you're
they,
not a
like,
horse.
blow-
That's annoying.
Yeah, pretty much. But when they like blow from their nose at you,
Okay. I
like
think,
when someone cuts you off, then you'll play that.
Kind of like
Play
a
that.
like a large
Yeah.
sniff.
Yeah. Like a large sniff. Okay.
But-
well, we
but-
don't have that in the desk, or we
it
do.
wouldn't be something like this.
No.
No.
I guess you could use that as well, but the snort would be better.
Okay.
Well,
okay, so-
Ashley, our button pusher has completely failed in his attempt in tracking that one down. So sorry about that.
Although
Ariana.
hard ask, like you have 3 minutes, all right? So you give anyone in the world an internet connection and 3 minutes to find a horse sniff. Like that's a hard ask.
It is a hard ass. He's done his best. Ariana, welcome to the show. You would play this as your horn. A llama screaming.
Yeah, exactly.
And what
How
situation
come?
do you need that in?
Well, if they are, well, the light turns green, they don't move like we said before. Or, you know, if someone's just being an idiot, driving crazy, not in the right way, startle them back into doing the right thing.
I
Okay.
think that would work.
I like that. I think that definitely would work.
Dude,
I'm shocked.
I would feel like victimized if someone like horned me with a screaming llama. I just feel like I'd probably get out of my car and apologize.
I tell you what, maybe next time James can't find a sound effect, we'll just play that at him. Thanks, Ariana. Jade, welcome to the show. You would play this. I like this. That's good.
I sure would.
That's also aggressive.
And what situation would you play that in? Is if someone's in the way?
Yeah, like when you're in the car park and people just like stand in front of your car or walk behind your car, I would just flare it.
That's
Yeah.
good. You know, you could just play that through your speakers and open the window. That'd be even tougher, I reckon.
Oh, I should do that. Should do
Give it a
it.
go.
You know what would be aggressive? Just playing that as you're waiting in a zebra crossing. You know, just like waiting for someone old to cross the road.
An old lady with a walker, you just hit it. Hurry her up. Hey, thanks for calling, guys. That's all we have time for tonight. That was the Luke and Lewis show. If you want to check out more, we have social media. Check us out on Instagram, Luke and Lewis. We also have a podcast version that comes out 3 times a week now for this month. So check that out if you missed anything or you want to catch up. And we also film every single show and put it up on YouTube. So thank you very much for listening, guys. We'll be back next Sunday. That was Luke and Lewis. Have a good night.